Whether it's you or a loved one, going through cancer is terrifying. Then add the internet, full of scary stories about foods that feed cancer. So what should you eat? Who should you listen to? And are there actually certain foods that should be off limits during cancer treatment? Luckily, I know a great expert to come and help us separate fact from fiction. They're joining me today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. I've got my zebra print on today in honor of my mother, who passed away from carcinoid neuroendocrine cancer in 2011. It's a rare disease, frequently misdiagnosed, confounding the old adage in medicine that when you hear hoofbeats, think horse, not zebra. For her, it was a zebra. And indeed, everything about that time was confusing, as the cancer journey usually is, scary and confusing. That's why I'm thrilled to welcome today's guest to help us unpack some of the myths and get more clarity about nutrition and cancer. Dr. Amy Littlefield is a naturopathic physician, acupuncturist, and the owner of Vermont Wellness Medicine and Integrative Oncology in Middlebury. Dr. Littlefield, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you here today. To get us started, first off, you're an ND. Can you tell us what's the difference between an ND and an MD?
Sure. So ND stands for naturopathic doctor, MD stands for medical doctor. From the academic level, the training is very similar in the first 2 years. Biochemistry, anatomy, physiology. And there's a divergence there where a medical doctor will spend a lot more time in the hospital, whereas a naturopathic doctor will spend a lot more time in outpatient care, working very much in the level of primary care. And naturopathic training, the doc might know their patient over the course of multiple years of their training, whereas a medical doctor is going to see lots of patients through the hospital, have higher touches possibly, but less duration for their touches and training. So similar in the beginning, and then they diverge in terms of kind of the level of care they provide.
Am I right in thinking that the naturopathic approach can sometimes be a little more holistic?
Yes. So the application, the patient's perspective on the difference between naturopathic care and seeing their medical doctor might be that the patient gets included a lot in the decision making. The patient's empowered to make decisions. And many patients who seek naturopathic care are patients who want to be involved in the decision making.
I did, and that was a big piece of it for me. I wanted to be able to have sort of in-depth conversations about what was happening.
Yep, collaborate.
Yeah. Collaborate,
together.
exactly. Okay,
Yep.
So, and this is something that actually my doctor and I have talked about. Could you talk to a little bit of the idea of food as medicine?
Yes. So this statement, food as medicine, goes way back to the beginning of the system of medicine. But what I think about, and what many of our patients think about, is what can you do on your own? And you can eat well, and we can use food as medicine because it has so many nutrients. It has so many phytochemicals that can be medicine. The other way we think about medicine is things that we have evidence for, and we now have a lot of evidence to eat more vegetables.
Right. Okay. So definitely important. Always focus on the vegetables. And now we're sort of also at the heart of the cancer conundrum, which is eating well is an important piece of taking care of yourself. And at the same time, for people with cancer, what specifically to eat and maybe even what not to eat can become a source of stress. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, how are we avoiding stress when we're already in a very stressful situation like cancer, but we're trying to think about how to feed ourselves well, and we're trying to think about which foods we should be eating?
Really overwhelming. The journey of cancer itself is, for many people, a full-time job. The goal really of integrative medicine is to take some of that burden off of the patient. We want to give people the information, but we don't want to make them feel compelled to work harder when they're already really working hard. And I think taking that burden off is really important. So empowering them with the information and helping them set priorities is really when we do the job well. We give them the information and then demystify the things that don't have as much power behind them.
Right, because we don't want to be stressing about what we're eating and whether or not the food is going to be good for us, if we're eating the right types of foods. I think actually you had some thoughts about the right types of foods, right types of food. Like when you're going through cancer instead, what would maybe be the best way to think about food? nourishment.
Thinking about what you already like, what you already do well in your own diet. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our strengths too, and really leaning into the place where you know what foods you like that are also healthy, and find that overlay between the healthy foods that you already like. Lean into the vegetables, and don't be too hard on yourself, because taste changes, flavor changes, stress changes, sleep changes. There can be so many pieces of this journey that are hard. Lean into the things that you do well, and value those as relevant and worthwhile.
Yep, okay. So before you and I talked, I realized that there were some sort of myths about food that I also hadn't necessarily bought into, but I'd certainly heard about them before. One of those is soy. Right? And so what I knew about soy is that it's very good for perimenopausal women because it has a lot of phytoestrogens. But I had definitely also heard that when you were going through cancer treatment, or maybe for certain types of cancer, that soy was off limits. So is that true? Is it a myth?
Yep. This place of understanding what hormones do and their importance and their actual impact at the cellular level has been evolving over the years while we've been trying to understand the impact of estrogen, both positive and negative. So there was a time when we said, wait, we don't know what soy does, and a lot of people eat a lot of soy. Should we be careful?
Real quick, sources of soy.
Sources of soy. So edamame, tempeh, tofu, miso are kind of the original, like the healthiest sources of soy. Then it's also used to fortify and increase the protein. I tend to like the whole food better. In 2009, JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association, published a very, very well run study that showed that soy was not harmful for women with breast cancer. 2017, the journal Cancer, also very well recognized, did another look at that, found the same thing. And since about 2007, the amount of PubMed published studies that you can find on soy are all a tremendous amount of evidence we have. And soy is either beneficial, or some of the studies show neutral. None of the studies show that it's harmful.
How long does it take for that type of information, you think, to filter through the medical community?
Well, this one's taking a long time. Because I still have patients.
I was going to say, because I felt like this is something that just with even in the past few years, I'm thinking about things like hormone replacement therapy, et cetera. I'm still hearing things about soy and cancer and breast cancer connections. But we're saying no.
We're saying soy is a safe,
neutral
food.
Or positive.
It's,
so we can do soy. Because it's also a good source of protein, other sorts of micronutrients.
Great lean protein, great fiber. There's lots of reasons to enjoy soy if you like it.
Here's another one, sugar. Yes, so if you look on the internet,
and
I think probably one of the things that we can say is maybe spend less time on the internet looking up medical advice, but on the internet it will tell you that sugar is feeding cancer. So. Yes, no.
So I love for patients to have agency. I love for patients to take a role in their own health. But yes, the internet is a mixed bag that way. Sugar is delicious, so people want to eat sugar. But sugar is
also... be comforting.
It can be comforting. It can be really tasty when your taste buds have shifted. And the amount of sugar we're getting in this kind of decade or in this generation is so much more than before. So I really encourage people to enjoy their sugar and their naturally occurring sources. Never limit
like
the
fruits and vegetables.
Never limit those things. Enjoy those things, and then be mindful and see if you can walk it back so that you're not getting quite so much. Because cancer, no cancer, sugar is not good for anyone. Extra sugar is not good for anyone.
And especially maybe more like refined sugars. We can think more about natural sugars. Maple syrup. Can we still do maple syrup in Vermont?
Maple syrup. Well, the biochemists and the dietitians would say sugar is sugar is sugar.
Sugar is sugar.
It's what it does inside your body. But I would say, usually using sugar to add on to make your food delicious is different than buying food that already has the sugar in it. And that's a line that's sometimes helpful for people.
Nutritionists will often say we shouldn't say foods are good or bad, but there's two more quote unquote bad foods that people might have heard about. That might be red meat and dairy. So both of these contribute to heart disease. Is that one of the reasons why they land in sort of this bad category?
Yes. So the way, especially Americans, the way we're eating a lot of the red meat and dairy are in ways that are, burned or fried or ultra processed. And so I think that's part of the complication of it.
And for you too, though, I think you say that you want to keep those in your diet if otherwise you don't have a lot of other sources of protein.
Absolutely.
Especially during cancer.
During cancer, the need for protein is higher than other times in someone's life. And rapidly taking away their burger or their yogurt because we've labeled a food as bad can be really dangerous and harmful and stressful. So I like to inch people towards more plants, more vegetables without a rigid bad or good label to them.
Okay. So I know that in your practice, you can deliver a lot of personalized care and help tailor a person's diet. You can really take a look at what they're eating and help them work on what their individual diet should be like. For people who don't have access to that type of personalized care, what sorts of recommendations would you give them for, say, resources, for where to look for more information about food and cancer?
There's a fabulous website that has stayed really reliable over the years, and it's a bit of a clearinghouse with good editors and physicians who are keeping an eye on the information that's posted. It's called Cancer Choices.
Okay, I think we have that information, yes.
Great,
okay.
They do a really, really great job. Some of my most favorite colleagues and long-term teachers are some of the docs that contribute to that. But I'd also say if you don't have access to integrative care and you don't have access to a naturopath or an integrative oncologist, I would say focus on the mindfulness piece and focus on moving your body, because of all of the evidence we have, those really show up as the most robust and biggest bang for your buck.
And maybe staying off of social media?
Yes, I think that can be useful, unless it's something funny, right? Laughter is good medicine. So if it's social media, that's hilarious.
But being wary of health claims on social media.
Wary of health claims.
Thinking about the evidence.
And if it drives a really strong emotional response, if you feel stressed with what you're reading, that's probably your red flag that it might not be the right source for you, because good information, good medicine is going to be supportive instead of jarring.
Yeah. I know something, a little tip for our viewers, something that really helped out with my mom when she was going through cancer was we made a lot of soups and things like that. Soups, things that you could put in the freezer, healthy vegetable soups, a very good way to get some of those vegetables stored away, because I know people who are supporting people going through cancer are also looking for ways that they can help. If you want to learn more about women's health and cancer care, the UVM Cancer Center is hosting a one-day free conference at UVM on Friday, September 19th. You can still register to attend virtually at the address on the screen. At the event, Dr. Littlefield will be speaking more about myths and truths in integrative medicine. Dr. Littlefield, thank you so much for joining me today. I really wish that I had someone like you to be able to talk with when I was going through cancer with my mom. This is very valuable information. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As always, Vermont, thank you for learning and exploring with me today, and thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.